All right, guys. So I'm reading a book right now in regards to because I usually just read things I'm interested in, or I read things in regards to somewhere I'm headed. That's what I do, or it's somewhere I'm going to head in the near future. So right now, I'm currently reading a book about, I guess you could say, the turbulence of military juntas which Nigeria endured. And I'm going to bring everything full circle in how it pertains to us. The thing is that I want to say that although we do live in a multiverse, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirms that we live in a multiverse in the Quran, and also the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, he confirms this in the Hadith as well. But what I notice about the ulama tended to use metaphors in regards to their spiritual well-being and things like that. It's like they compared things outside of themselves, but when they contrasted, when it was contrast, it made sense in a way that you would be like, okay, I got it. For example, one of our great ulamas, we call him Malam. One of our great Malams, right? He actually has one text, and if you want me to go live and actually go over these texts, I'm more than happy to. But the whole thing is, it's just having an audience for that, because if I'm just going over the live and I'm just doing it by myself, then there's really no point, like who's going to benefit from it, right? So one of the Malams, he actually has a text that compares parts of the body to in a metaphorical way. For example, he compares the heart to your kingdom, like to a kingdom. He compares your brain to like a grand visor, someone who is the brains behind the kingdom. He compares your lower desires and your lust to slaves, to basically, because again, that thing about being a slave of your desire, that's what he compares the lower passions to. It's just like a lowly slave, because what is a slave? In essence, a slave really has to go through blood, sweat, and tears to get his freedom. But if he is, I guess you can say, confined to just being in slavery, then he just does what he I guess you could say he's subservient. He doesn't have a will of his own, in essence. And that's kind of, and that's true when you're overtaken by desire so much. It's like you don't have a will of your own. And that's another conversation for another day. But of course, we know modern women are slaves to their desires. We know that. We understand that. We know that the grand visor is overran by the slaves. But that's beside the point. I want to parallel into a more militant thing, because the thing is about there's this very grave misconception of, let's just say, the spiritual aspect of Islam. Like, people call it a pacifist, And yes, there is pacifist traditions in the spiritual aspect of Islam, but we also have to keep in mind that there is the militant position in this the tradition of Islam as well. Now, without getting me in trouble and without getting uh you know giving things away, I come from a very large family. And when I say a large family, I mean a big family. I mean a family that when they join other families, they take that family's surname, but yet they're still related to me. You know, to give you even just uh, I guess a taste, you know, of the surnames we have in our family. I mean, we have Baz, we have Bardis, we have Balos or Bello, however you want to say it. We have Khan, we have Seli, we have just all types of people in our family, okay? So, with that being said, a lot of my family members served as brigaders in our respective African countries in the Sahel region. And the reason why I mentioned that some of them served as brigaders is because of the simple fact that unfortunately West Africa is known as military junta center. You know, I mean, Guinea-Bissau had just had an attempted junta not too long ago. We saw the Niger junta, and we saw the we see the Burkinabe military junta that is taking form. We also see the Malian junta that is taking form. We also see the Guinea-Conakry junta that is taking form. And in the past, which I was instructed to read about through one of my brigadier family members, Nigeria was what Guinea-Bissau and what Guinea-Conakry, what Mali, what Burkina Faso, what Niger is today. Nigeria was that back in the day, okay? But unfortunately, corruption got the best of it, and even people in the military got too greedy. That was the problem with Nigeria in regards to military juntas. But what I want to segue to is the mutiny that the soldiers put up. Now, at first, there was a mutiny there was a mutiny with, I want to say, evil soldiers. Yeah, Igbos. They made a mutiny and they made a coup attempt. And unfortunately, that coup attempt cost prominent figures' lives, okay? One of the Sarkins of his name, Ahmed Bello, Rahmatullah alayh, he was killed. And there were certain other high-profile individuals that were killed as well. Now, unfortunately, that spurred Northerners to get some get back and do a counter coup. And then they did mutiny. And then they took their aggression and their anger out on Igbos. Now, I'm not saying this is right, okay? I want to make something else clear too. This is a big misconception. From reading this book, it wasn't just House of Fulanis that were carrying out this. It was also other ethnic groups in the north that were also Christian. So it wasn't even a religious kind of conflict. It was just a regional conflict, so to say. Now, how does it pertain to me, and how does it pertain to maybe you and what you're going through? Now, I have taken upon myself, like segueing from the other video about mutiny and things like that. No, segueing from the other video about building garrisons, spiritual garrisons. So now, what what you the elevation of that is mutiny in the spiritual sense of the word. And what I mean by that is, I mean that it has gotten to the point where you're just going to have to, as I said before, pretend like these women don't exist at all in the West, okay? Because it's a deteriorating situation. It's not getting better. I just heard that there was a mother who was a single mother of 13 kids, okay? And then one of the kids was on social media smoking a cigarette, okay? It's not getting better. The other day, this one fat African American woman yelled at me. She was like, "Hey!" I didn't say a word to her. I just ignored her, okay? Other women were around and they said, "This guy's an asshole, this guy's a jerk." They cursed at me in every sense of the word. They used the 9AY word as well. But I still walked with my feet regardless of it. This is my mutiny, okay? You have to program yourself, in my opinion, until you get to the point where you want to be at, okay? Where it is a mutiny with these women, where you won't do a damn thing for them, okay? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to do anything for you. They are not going to bring your peace into your life. They're not going to bring productivity into your life. I guess they missed the memo here in the States that a good woman can propel a man to excel and do more than he maybe thought he could do. He's going to find the motivation in himself, of course, but the woman is the extra motivation for him. So with that being said, I'm saying this all because you have to be on mutiny with the program that is going on in the West. You have to just put it upon yourself that you're going to be on mutiny. That you're not going to entertain the dating apps because we know that's a waste of time. That you're not going to entertain the cold approach because we know that's a waste of time. That you're not going to entertain a Western woman at all because you know that's a waste of time. And I hate to say it, that you won't entertain a freshly arrived woman from a different country who's coming to the West because you know eventually that's going to become a waste of time, you know. And so I guess, you know, having uncles who are brigaders, right? Now, granted, my uncles are polygamous as well, so it's not like they're just military men. It's just that the women that they got, which are not available here in the States or in the Western world in general, it's just that the women they got are able to complement what they already have, okay? Meaning, you know, they're just men of discipline. And yes, I will say that a lot of African armies are corrupted, however, you know, to say the least. I mean, in my opinion, some armies need a purge. But I'm just saying you can take from these kind of experiences. And I hate to say it, you know, the Nigerian Civil War was a brutal civil war. Okay, in my opinion, it was pointless. It was a pointless civil war. But one thing about the Nigerian Civil War that was surprising is that you had a lot of mercenaries fighting for Biafra. You had Italian mercenaries, you had Belgian mercenaries, you had Swedish mercenaries, And of course, you have the Star of David Little Hats who were helping Biafra as well. So I say this to say that now Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria was able to win. And I hate to say how they won, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm going to end this video how it pertains to us, how we're going to win at the end of it, you know. Unfortunately, the Federal Republic of Nigeria during the Civil War, they put a blockade on Biafra, meaning a food blockade, meaning they starved them to death. And I think this was put on them because of the fact that, you know, Biafra was receiving support from, you know, the Star David Little Hat people, but also France, and I believe they were receiving support from China too, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this spurred the federal government of Nigeria to put a blockade on them, and it led to a malnourishment. It led to, unfortunately, those pictures of kids with the big stomachs and things like that. It was very horrible, you know. But it was war. And I'm not saying it was right, but I'm saying how it pertains to us. You must put a blockade on these women as well. You must blockade them from your attention, blockade them from your money, blockade them from your time, blockade them from your spirit, blockade them from your heart. You must do all of that. Because I hate to say it, but if you're not going, if you're going to blockade the woman, unfortunately, there is going to be a weak simp that is going to fill that void. However, it's better him than you. Okay? That's what my point is about having this drastic measures, having this mutiny, having this blockade. And I'm going to end this video by saying you must have a mutiny and a blockade with the way that the West does things in general. The only reason why the West functions the way it is, the only reason why the West is still, I guess you can say, still running. Yeah, you can say that the West is still running. The only reason why the West is still running the way it is because of its military industrial complex, you know. And also the fact that it prints money out of thin air. Okay. Other than that, based on a spiritual, social, or moral standard, or even a physical standard, I'll say, because they're having trouble even getting people in the army. The maqam of the West is very, very low. The only thing that is high about the West maqam is their money and their weapons. That's about it. Other than that, the people, I'll straight out say it, like Western people, and you know, and specifically, especially like Americans, especially like Anglo-Americans, but just all Americans in general, like their maqam is like very, very low. You know, they have very, very low maqam. Like especially American women, they have hella low maqam. You know, the only reason why they're the way that they are right now is because of the way that the system is set up. But I'm just going to end this video by saying it's important for you to decide what you want. I mean, some people maybe who are watching this video may want to entertain a woman in the West. Some watching this video may want to try to look for that diamond in the rough, you know. I'm just not that guy to do that. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to do that. You know, and I've shown time and time again why I don't need to do that. I mean, I could show you again, but I don't need to show my African passport. I've shown it like too many times already on this video, on this page already. So you don't need to see that again. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that in addition to the garrison that I recommend you build during Rajab, I recommend that you go on a full-on mutiny and also put a blockade on the women, even if you will have the backlash. It's for your spiritual, mental, and your emotional health. But with that being said, I inshallah will be going live on Wednesday. I'm trying to think about what I want to talk about on Wednesday on that live. I just want it to be beneficial to people and not a waste of time. So yes, I will inshallah go live on Wednesday, inshallah. But with that being said, Fula signing out, inshallah.